In the previous video, we've discussed the major challenges in Greenfield SAP implementations. Uncontrolled customization,
unclear expectations, and old waterfall thinking. Now, let me tell you something very honestly. Most SAP Greenfield projects do not fail at go live. They fail much earlier, Pat, in the prepare phase. And the reason is simple. Teams treat the phase as just a kickoff meeting.
Contracts, like just contracts and timelines, just access them set up. But in SAP Activate, especially for Greenfield implementations, the prepare phase is not administrative, it is strategic. This is the phase where the DNA of the entire project is written.
If you get this phase wrong, fit to standard will fail, scope control will collapse, customization will explode, clean core will be compromised.
And no amount of configuration, testing, or last-minute firefighting later will save the project. So in this section, I want you to forget theory and start thinking like a real SAP delivery professional. Let's understand how SAP Activate executes the prepare phase in a Greenfield project and why this phase becomes the foundation for speed, discipline, governance, and long-term success. What the prepare phase really means in a Greenfield SAP Activate project. Now, let's slow down a bit and really understand something that most SAP teams underestimate: the prepare phase in a Greenfield implementation. In a Greenfield SAP Activate project, the prepare phase is not about SAP settings. It is not about configuration. It is not about writing documents. The prepare phase is about answering one critical question that decides the future of the entire project. How will this project behave? Will this project behave with discipline, clarity, and structure? Or will it slowly slide back into old habits, old thinking, and old mistakes? That decision is taken here before a single configuration is done. In every Greenfield project, you have a clean opportunity. There is no legacy SAP system to copy, no old design to protect, and no technical debt forcing your hand. On the surface, this looks ideal, but this is also what makes Greenfield dangerous. Because when people hear new implementation, the instinct is freedom. Freedom to design, freedom to imagine, freedom to customize. And that freedom, if left uncontrolled, becomes chaos. This is why the risk in Greenfield is not technical. The real risk is over-design. SAP Activate was designed specifically to protect Greenfield projects from this risk. Instead of encouraging imagination-driven design, Activate enforces discipline. Instead of asking, what is the best process you can imagine, Activate asks, can you adopt SAP's proven best practice process? This single shift changes the entire behavior of the project. Now, let's talk about what the prepare phase is really trying to achieve in a Greenfield project. The goal of the prepare phase is not speed. The goal is alignment. Alignment between business and IT, alignment between expectation and reality, alignment between ambition and discipline. The prepare phase establishes the rules of the game. It decides whether fit to standard will be respected or just talked about. SAP Best Practices will be protected or slowly bypassed. Customization will be controlled or encouraged. Agile delivery will actually work or collapse into mini waterfalls. Scope will be governed or silently expanded. If these things are not locked in prepare phase, the project will look fine on paper, but struggle in execution. This is why experienced SAP professionals say, projects don't fail in realize, they fail quietly in prepare. One of the most important activities in the prepare phase is something that does not appear clearly in any project plan: mindset reset. In Greenfield SAP projects, business leaders often say something that sounds logical but is actually dangerous. This is a new system, so let's design everything perfectly. As a delivery professional, you must immediately recognize this as a red flag, because perfect design almost always means over-engineering, copying legacy habits, heavy customization, delayed decisions, and future upgrade issues. The prepare phase must reset this thinking very clearly. The message to stakeholders must be direct and consistent. Greenfield does not mean unlimited freedom. Greenfield means disciplined adoption of standard. SAP Activate enforces this by clearly positioning fit to standard as mandatory, not optional. SAP Best Practices as the starting point, not a reference. Customization as an exception, not a default. Clean core as non-negotiable. If this mindset is not set here, the explore phase will turn into a battlefield, business pushing for custom design and consultants struggling to protect standard. Another critical responsibility of the prepare phase is establishing governance and decision authority. Greenfield projects are emotional projects. People care deeply because processes are changing. Decisions are frequent and opinions are strong. Without governance, this leads to endless discussion and zero closure. So the prepare phase must clearly define who can approve scope, who can approve deviation from SAP standard, who has authority to say no to customization, who owns backlog priority, how conflicts are escalated and resolved. SAP Activate strongly emphasizes clear roles such as strong business product owners, defined RACI, clear escalation paths, and agile governance structure. This governance is what allows fit-to-standard workshops to end with decisions and not debates. Now, let's talk about scope definition, because this is another area where greenfield projects historically fail. In traditional projects, scope was defined through interviews. People were asked, "What do you want?" SAP Activate deliberately changes this approach. In a Greenfield Activate project, scope is defined using SAP Best Practice content, industry scope items, solution scope diagrams. This is a huge shift in thinking. Instead of asking what the business wants, prepare phase asks which SAP processes are you willing to adopt. This immediately sets realistic boundaries, avoids vague requirements, controls ambition, and prevents unnecessary customization. It is one of the strongest risk reduction mechanisms in the entire methodology. System provisioning is another activity that people underestimate. In SAP Activate, especially for Greenfield, the system is provisioned very early, even during prepare phase. Why? Because fit to standard cannot happen without a system. Business decisions cannot be made in theory. Seeing SAP early changes conversations completely. Early system availability builds business confidence, eliminates assumptions, and accelerates workshops. It prevents blueprint-style thinking. If system access is delayed, teams fall back to PowerPoint and documentation, exactly what SAP Activate is trying to eliminate. Prepare phase also lays the foundation for agile delivery. This is where sprint structure, cadence, demo frequency, testing alignment, and definition of done are established. This may sound procedural, but it is not. Without early agile discipline, work becomes chaotic. Feedback slows, surprises increase, deadlines slip. Greenfield projects benefit enormously when agile discipline is introduced early, not after design is finished. Data and integration strategy is also addressed in prepare phase, but at a high level only. The goal is not to design migration. The goal is to avoid unrealistic expectations. Prepare phase clarifies what data sources exist, what data is actually relevant, what complexity level to expect, and what is realistic to migrate. This prevents statements like, "We will migrate everything." Greenfield plus Activate promotes clean data, relevant data, and minimal historic load. Again, discipline over emotion. The role of the project manager in prepare phase is critical. The PM is not a scheduler here. The PM is a guardian of discipline. The PM must protect SAP Activate principles, educate stakeholders continuously, enforce fit-to-standard behavior, lock governance early, and prevent scope ambiguity. A weak PM in prepare phase almost guarantees a chaotic explore phase. Consultants also have a very important role in prepare phase. They must act as advisors, not order takers. Their responsibility is to educate business on SAP standard, explain long-term impact of customization, set realistic expectations, and support clean core strategy. This is where consultants either gain trust or lose credibility. Unfortunately, many projects repeat the same mistakes in prepare phase, treating prepare as administrative work, avoiding difficult conversations, delaying system access, weak SAP standard messaging, and allowing blueprint mentality to creep in. SAP Activate was specifically designed to prevent these mistakes if it is used correctly. Let me close this phase with one very clear statement. In a Greenfield SAP Activate project, the prepare phase decides the project's fate. If the prepare phase sets the right mindset, protects SAP standard, enables early system usage, establishes discipline and governance, then explore, realize, and deploy becomes smoother, faster, and far more predictable. If the prepare phase is weak, the project will struggle no matter how good the team is. That's why experienced SAP delivery professionals always say, win the prepare phase, and the project will follow.
Hope you're enjoying this SAP Activate tutorial. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Contend, I reply to everyone.
Thanks for watching. I hope this session helped you understand SAP Activate better. If you have questions, comment below. I'm here to help. And make sure to subscribe to PMmentor for more expert SAP and project management tutorials.